Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. I've tried to start this 3 times today. I tried to start it earlier in my car and this incessant buzzing noise was coming from the air conditioner that I couldn't get rid of, so I had to restart it now instead of doing it then, and I'm here to talk to you about what I've been reading. So technically my last reading vlog that I posted last week had ended a fair bit earlier than that, but I haven't really read a ton in the meantime. I think that in that reading vlog I talked about how I was still in the middle of Engines of Empires and like my future reading plans for what I needed to do next. I'm here and happy to report that as of today I finished Engines of Empire and I did really like it. It ended up being a 4-star read for me. There were just some parts of it that felt really slow, and the one thing that I do think it did really well was while there were times that certain narrative POVs went slower than others, I was never fully bored by one character or the other. So it is third-person POV, but you do switch the point of view depending on which character you're following, because they did end up splitting up and going into different places very early on in the story. And Tyrita was the daughter of the Hawkspur Guild, the daughter heir, the female heir, and she went on her own way pretty early on, and she had to learn some really hard lessons really quick. Fulrin, he kind of halfway through the story had to end up kind of splitting off onto his own, and again had to learn some lessons really quick and had to deal with a lot of difficulties. And Connell, I think, is the oldest brother. He came to accept a bit of a harsh reality in terms of his place in the world and his responsibilities. And then Rosamund is the mom, yet another POV that we follow. She didn't really experience any growth. But she didn't really, I mean, she was probably the most, I don't want to say down to earth, but she had some things come to light that really surprised her, I guess we shall say, without fully spoiling the end of this book. And she pretty much would do anything for her kids. So that was an interesting point of view to follow. And then you also follow Lancelin Jagdor, who is like the Emperor's knight, chosen knight, main protector kind of guy. Who ends up having to leave to save one of those siblings at the request of somebody else. And so I think those are the only points of view that you follow. And they all go through their various things. I will say that I do think Rosamund and Lancelin were probably the least favorite of my 2 points of view to follow, but they did also experience some really crazy things. So like it wasn't entirely boring the entire time that they were like the main focus, and they really only came to be main points of view like halfway through the story anyway. As far as the 3 siblings go, they were by far took turns being the most interesting things to read in the whole book. I ended up really loving it. I definitely want to read book 2. I don't know if it's out or not yet. There's like a sneak peek in the end that I didn't read for book 2. And so, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I'm obviously not going to get to it anytime soon, but that means I did finish the gray or silver, I think. I don't really remember exactly what the prompt was. That particular prompt for the magical readathon. So next up on the agenda, I did actually end up starting Monstrous yesterday. I am not far into it at all. I am like this far into it, so barely kind of got started, but it's a graphic novel. It should be a relatively quick read, so I started this yesterday. I'm enjoying what I saw so far. The artwork is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I don't really have many thoughts right now because I'm still so early in it that I'm still just trying to figure out what's going on. After that, I need to pick up Her Majesty's Royal Coven, which I have not even remotely started. Oh, this is a nice, I don't think I did the flop test on this, but look at that. We love to see a good floppy paperback. I haven't started this yet, but it's 400 pages. It's a little bit longer than I would prefer. It does not come in, I don't think I have the ebook for this. I don't think I could find an audiobook for this anywhere. Honestly, if I can't, this is the 25th of August. I am in crunch time for the last 2 books that I have to read. Technically 3 for my last 3 prompts. So the prompts that I still have unfulfilled are Necromancy, which I was hoping that Monstrous would be able to do, so hopefully I'll be able to fulfill that soon. If not, then I am going to have to move Nettle and Bone to Necromancy and power through this guy instead as the bone prompt, which while I said I would want to do so, it's like 460 pages and I have 5 days to go. And on top of that, I still have to fulfill the book that I need to annotate while I'm reading it prompt. and I haven't done that either. So wish me luck, because I'm gonna have to try and shove a lot of things into these last 5 days, and I don't do well reading under that kind of pressure. Usually, if you guys have been following this channel for any length of time, you know that if I am under pressure to read anything specifically, even if it's minimal pressure, I don't read the things, because I just kind of give up. This is why set TBRs do not work for me. This is why when I tried my TBR game last year, it failed miserably, because I was trying to force myself to read things and my brain automatically shuts off as soon as that happens. We'll see. I think we might have to take this day by day. Right now my focus is getting Monstrous read, and I also have to start working on some videos for next week as well, which means that I also have to print out my Bookoplathon board so that I can film a Bookoplathon TBR, or at least get my prompts set for that. We'll see. I don't really know what I'm gonna do about the chance cards and all of that stuff. We'll take that, we'll play that by ear. But I'm probably going to do that this weekend. Today is Thursday, so I started filming this vlog later than I usually do, but it is going to go all the way up until the very last day of the Magical Readathon, which is the 30th of August? 31st. There's 31 days in August, obviously. That's where I'm at. That's all that I really have to update you guys on. I would really like to have an audiobook to listen to at work, but I just can't seem to find one that I want to read. I have some Audible credits. I don't really want to spend one. I don't know. I'm in a weird reading place right now where I want to be spending all of my time reading, but like in order to do that I also have to have an audiobook to do so. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see where this goes. I will update you guys when I have something to update you on, but right now I think I'm just going to keep reading Monstrous.
Hey guys, it's been a minute since I updated. We're gonna try to fit this in as fast as I can before my air conditioner starts to vibrate again, because that is the bane of my existence. So, since I last spoke to you, I have finished, and there it is. I have finished Monstrous, and I did really enjoy it. I think I ended up giving it about 4 stars. I'm powering through this update, by the way, so if you guys can hear the vibrating, I deeply apologize, but I am just gonna go with it. I finished Monstrous. I really, really enjoyed it. 4 stars. It's probably not my favorite graphic novel that I've ever read, but it's up there, and I'm interested in continuing the series. The artwork is absolutely stunning. The storyline was interesting. It took a little bit for me to like understand what was going on and what all the moving pieces were, but the end really sucked me in. It was probably the best part of the whole thing for me. Moving on from that, I did finally start Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I am not nearly as far in that as I need to be, considering it's Tuesday, and I have until tomorrow night to finish the last 2 books on this TBR. So Her Majesty's Royal Coven has been really, really interesting. More than I thought it would be, honestly. I just have not had time to pick it up and read it, which is driving me nuts. So Her Majesty's Royal Coven is about this group of women who you meet them for the first time like 25 years previously when they're around like 10 years old, and they're about to take the royal oath or whatever to join Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Think of it as if you watched the show, oh my god, what is it called? There's a show on Freeform right now that is like a futuristic urban fantasy that involves witches, like being drafted into the army. I cannot believe the name of this is escaping me, but I'll pop the name of it somewhere so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. And it's a very similar concept to that. Like they get drafted kind of into the royal coven to like protect from, I think, demons or like threats or whatever. So they're about to take their oaths in the very beginning, and then you skip forward, I think, like 25 years. And in that time, they have gone through a war. They've seen a lot of loss, and some of them are no longer in the coven anymore. Blah, blah, blah. And so you're kind of following them as there's this prophecy now that kind of like the world is going to end because of a bad demon being released sort of a situation. And so they're trying to regroup and try and figure out how they can fight that bad thing. That's as far as I've gotten, and I'm really, really liking it. The storytelling is entertaining, the world building is entertaining. It's definitely like urban fantasy, I think, in our world, but like, I think that magic is a secret. I think that it's like a Harry Potter kind of a situation. Outside of that, so that is my somebody else's TBR prompt for Magical Readathon, and then the final book that I'm also trying to read is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn, and the annotating, this is the book that I'm annotating, I'm stretching it, but listen, I'm desperate at this point. So I'm reading Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn. I am barely into it at all. I am not highly impressed by it. I don't know. It's readable. It's relatively short, so I'm probably going to finish it. But like at this point, my annotating has consisted of highlighting passages that I don't think are written well, which counts as annotating. I mean, it does. I'm highlighting stuff, but I'm highlighting stuff that I think that the editors maybe needed to go over a little bit more with a fine tooth comb. In Only a Monster, you follow a girl whose name I don't remember, June, J something, who finds out one day that she comes from a long lineage of monsters, and what they can do is potentially a spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you guys, but she finds out that she comes from monsters, and there's like this whole secret world that she wasn't really aware of, and things like that, so she's trying to come to terms with it. I'm maybe 10% of the way in that book. I barely started it. And the vibrating on my air conditioner is starting up again. So I am going to end this vlog update here before it drives me insane. And I will update you guys hopefully for the final time when I have hopefully finished these books by tomorrow night. 2 books, the way that my reading has gone over the next day and a half is probably not doable if I'm being perfectly honest. And I might stretch the bounds of the Magical Readathon onto September 1st. If we're being serious here, I'm going to have to just cheat just a little bit and do it that way. So, yeah. Anyway, that's where I'm at with my reading. I'm going to try and read as much of those as I can tonight and tomorrow. I don't have either on audiobooks, so I'm not going to be able to do any reading at work, which is where I get a lot of my reading done. We'll see. I might just bite the bullet and get the Audible credit for Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I think I would rather keep the audiobook for that than for Only a Monster at this point. So, yeah, I will update you guys when I have accomplished more.
Oh boy, do I actually have an update for you guys. Okay, first and foremost, I barely read any of this. I got maybe a chapter done when I was eating lunch at work today, so not much more really going on there. One big character reveal did happen, but I don't want to spoil that if you guys want to read this, so we're gonna let you experience that on your own. But the person that they thought was the harbinger of all of the bad things there's a bit of a reveal about them. So we're just gonna say that, and we're gonna move on to the next thing. I did manage to find an ebook or an audiobook of that, and I've been like bookmarking the sections that have annoyed me so that I can say that I have annotated it for that particular Magical Readathon prompt, and boy am I not loving this. When you tell me that something is going to be a book full of monsters, I'm expecting genuinely bad people. They're monsters because they can time travel. They're monsters because they can steal time from humans, like from the end of their lifetime, and use that time that they have stolen to travel through time. Interesting concept, I guess, but not something that I really love. Especially because the main character feels very, very special girl Mary Sue to me. I'm just gonna give you guys a couple of examples off the top of my head. So she knows nothing about her family or these gifts or the supernatural or anything at the beginning of this book, and I thought that I had just missed something because, like, I've been listening to the audiobook on 2.5 times speed so that I can try and read as much of it as possible, but they keep referring to her family's power, like each of the monster families has a specific power in their bloodline that they can do, and her family's power is to store things in time. And it didn't really occur to me at the beginning of this book when I was reading it, but it is occurring to me now towards the end of it, because I'm probably 80% of the way through this audiobook, that she didn't know anything about this going in. So why are they referencing, like, she keeps saying that her Hunt power, which is her family name, Hunt, faded away years ago. And she found out about this like 2 days ago. So I'm a little confused about the timeline, and if I missed this, by all means go ahead and correct me in the comments, because I am deeply confused about what is going on here. Because if she's aware of the supernatural, then why is she so shocked at the fact that the family is stealing time from people in order to time travel? You know, like, she acted like she had absolutely zero concept of it, but then she also says that her family's power faded away years ago. And also, she's just like, for somebody that has zero concept of the world that she has stumbled upon. For the sake of trying to save her entire family, she's just trying to force things to happen because she believes that they can, which, I mean, okay, but, like, she's actively telling people that have been living with this their entire lives, like, no, you're wrong, there's a way to do this, there's a way to make this happen, and I'm just like, girl, you've been here for 2 seconds, what do you know? And then, of course, because, like, it's a YA novel, I just realized my necklace was backwards, don't mind me, because it's a YA novel, she's, like, semi-right, so I'm a little frustrated. I'm a little frustrated with the logic of the plot. I'm a little frustrated with the characters because she's so bland that I don't care about her. There are other more interesting characters that she has interacted with that I care about. There's a dog. I care about the dog. I just don't get it. And I don't know if it's just because this is not clicking with me because I'm trying to read it so quickly, but I don't think that I would have really enjoyed it had I read it at a different time in my life, or if I had taken my time with it. I'm just genuinely so confused at the timeline, which maybe I'm supposed to be because it's a time travel book, which is not what I was expecting going into this. Also, it's making me feel old because they time traveled to the 90s, and she's like talking about all of these obsolete things that she's never seen before because she's a teenager. She's like 16, and yeah, they traveled to the year that I was born. So, anyway, it's just, I'm not loving it. I'm ready for it to be done. I have heard great things about this, which is actually why I'm a little disappointed that this is going the way that it's gone. But that's where we're at with this. I'm about to go for a walk and listen to more of the audiobook and hopefully finish it tonight, because then I have about 200 pages of Her Majesty's Royal Coven to read. But if I do both of those things, I may actually pull this off tonight, guys. There's a strong possibility that if I don't let myself get distracted, I can do this. So, that's where we're at with this. I have this much left to read. It's definitely doable. It's maybe 100 pages, probably a little bit less than 100 pages. So, yeah, I'm gonna blast through it as fast as I can. And I don't really foresee this getting anything more than a 3 stars. It's leaning towards a 2. It's been a long time since I have not enjoyed a book this much, but I can't DNF anything for Magical Readathon. I'm not at that tier level. So, pushing through. And I hope that it doesn't send me into a reading slump. But here's where we're going with that. Okay, so final update for the last week of the Magical Readathon. Technically, this is September 2nd, so it's been a couple of days, but I did manage to finish everything that I needed to finish by August 31st. There's 31 days in August, right? So, first and foremost, per my last update, I finished Only a Monster. You guys, this was a 2-star read for me. I did not like this, and I only got through this book because I needed to walk on the treadmill, and I had the audiobook of it, and I had an ebook on my Kindle, and I was literally listening to it at 3 times the speed and just like powering through the last 50%. So that's the only reason I got through this, and I'm very sad because this is a gorgeous edition, but it's probably gonna go in the unhaul pile because I don't feel the need to keep it. It was not for me. It felt very young. It felt very, I don't have a word to describe how I feel about the end of this. I said a lot of what I felt in the previous update, I'm pretty sure. The end is not really any different from me. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be a series or a duology, maybe, of some kind. I don't know. I'm not going to continue on with it personally, but if you guys loved this, I'm very happy for you. It just did absolutely nothing for me. On the flip side of that, I then managed to read the last 200 pages of Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and this was a 5-star read. This I adored. It managed to do social commentary on the LGBTQ community and like the binary aspect of witchcraft, I guess you could say. How most witchcraft is represented in fiction, and I enjoyed seeing the perspective that this gave on that entire situation. So honestly, I loved this. I'm pretty sure that there's going to be more in this series, the way that it ended on a pretty big cliffhanger, which you guys know I don't really like. I don't like cliffhangers. So the fact that this has a cliffhanger, a massive one, and I still managed to give it 5 stars, like, I wasn't mad at this cliffhanger. I was like, oh my god, I need the next book. So, that should tell you everything that you need to know. The writing in this was great for me. The characters in this were great for me. I just loved every single aspect of it. I was hooked from page one. The whole concept, it's very, not to bring Harry Potter into it, considering the LGBTQ community is such a strong aspect of it, but like kind of that, but also more Fort Salem if you've watched that TV show on Freeform at all. I think it's on its like third and last season because it did not get renewed, it got canceled. But the vibes are similar, it's just in the UK instead. And I really, really loved this. So if you have been thinking about checking this out, if any of what I've talked about throughout the course of this interests you at all, go read it. I loved this. I loved this so much. So, yeah, that was Her Majesty's Royal Coven, 5 out of 5 stars. And I finished the Magical Readathon. I didn't think I was going to pull it off. In all honesty, I really did not think that that was going to pull through, but I did manage to read all 5, 6, maybe 5. I don't remember how many prompts I had, but I managed to complete all of them for my profession, which I also don't remember what I said I was going to be, but I did all the prompts for it, so that's what matters. I'll talk more about all of the stuff that I managed to do in terms of the entire month in my wrap-up, which is probably, you guys are going to see that next week. Pretty successful reading vlog, you guys. I'm not mad about the progress that I made. I am pretty proud of myself for buckling down and actually managing to complete my TBR because I really didn't think that was going to happen. And now we're moving on to Becca's Bookoplathon for September, which I'm also pretty excited about. And I also have a vlog for that, so you guys will see that at some point in the upcoming week or two. And that's it for this one today, guys. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps out my channel if you do. Down in the description box, you're going to see links to my Goodreads, my Twitter, and my Instagram in case you guys wanted to follow me on any of those. But that's it for me today, guys, so I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye!